Okay.
You're just going to have to walk right next to me.
Okay.
Everyone, this is Stefano from Corporatio.
Hello.
He's a smart guy, chess champion at 9 years old, very early adopter of crypto, 2013?
13, yeah. That was...
Okay. Sorry, did I say you were a smart guy?
Well, well, you're kind of like overselling, but that's fair enough, I guess.
So we're here to talk about his smart company. If you're a digital nomad, if you're interested in real-world use case of blockchain, follow this content. We'll be talking probably once a week. A lot to cover here. So to kick it all off, maybe just give us a brief intro of what Corporatio is all about and why people should know about you.
Sure. So in a quite simple way, what we have developed is basically a solution that allows to automate every single step of your company.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure like how familiar people are with this, but like when you're setting up a company, you normally have like tons of documents to go through.
Yep.
A lot of different third-party people that are like executing tons of things and charging you a lot of money. We've taken that thing, put that into a code, automate everything, and so people can set up a company fully online, fully paperless, and run the entire management on that through their laptop or computer or phone or something like that. And it runs entirely on blockchain.
Awesome. Okay. Blockchain. Tell us about that. How are you using it and why?
So the way that we're using that is to take basically the full potential of what's like the Ethereum blockchain is.
Yeah.
Therefore, like the ability of like automated contracts and therefore like setting rules on that. Using the option of like the signature of a wallet, which is pretty similar to across like tons of blockchains, not only on the Ethereum one.
Yeah.
And also obviously the option to own the tokens, which in this specific case are assets.
Okay.
So you combine all of these things together and you're basically capable at that point to automate an entire streamline or an entire workflow, which traditionally will require multiple people, as well as in some cases, even the government per se on approving that. You will have like witnesses to actually approve a document that is being signed.
Okay.
You would have obviously to pay like hundreds or even thousands of dollars in some cases for like these specific steps. For not talking about the time, we're looking at like something that, take for example, a transfer of shares in a place like Seychelles, which was the first jurisdiction that we offer. You will normally take like between 10 and 15 working days to complete a transfer like that, from start to the end. In our specific case, thanks to blockchain, we were capable of bringing that down to 45 seconds.
Wow.
It's exactly the same process, 100% identical, with the difference that you're not paying hundreds of dollars to third-party people, and you're not waiting 2 weeks to do something like that.
Gotcha.
You're doing that down to like 45 seconds and a couple of cents for the gas price.
Okay. So I've been a digital nomad for 15 years. I've set up companies in a number of countries. Here we're in Singapore at the moment, which is famous for doing business, for cost efficiency. But yeah, I mean, running my company here cost me about $5,000 a year in local director fees, etc. What do you guys charge? What sort of a base?
The base will be around probably around half of that price, and simply because like the big difference and the big variable, as you mentioned, is exactly that nominee director, that director fees that is required. So by law in Singapore, it's a tricky example because one of the few countries in the world that has something like that. Basically, in order to set up a company, a person that owns a Singaporean passport or a PR visa, but let's just say like a passport, needs to be a director of the company. So if you are a foreign, someone that is not resident here, that doesn't have like that specific type of visa or pass and so on, you need to hire someone. And that is probably like the only thing that is a little bit expensive, not because it has limitation in terms of like what you can actually do and so on, but because like if, let's say you're doing something wrong, you're on the other side of the world, there is a problem, you mismanage something in your company, the government is going to go after your director. It's not going to go after you. So obviously that's probably like enforcing majority of the cost on that.
Yep.
The rest of the thing of setting up a company is actually relatively very cheap, and you're looking at literally less than $1,000 a year.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah, it's the director the only thing, because like legally, and you can understand that, you know, like if you don't know the person, you need to be sure that everybody's in line and are good. Obviously, you're asking
we need
money
to find
for
some
that.
food. We'll go and
Sure.
show these people how nice and cheap it is to eat in Singapore.
Yeah, it's still pretty early. They're still like
what have we
preparing
got here?
everything. The satay.
Satay with no satays.
No, yeah.
Has he got it? You open? Yep. How much for a satay? Let's go have a look. This is some good stuff usually. Tell us about your satay stand. What's your name? What do you reckon?
Looking at some chicken and some beef and some. What do you think?
Yeah, just gonna mix 10 sticks.
Yeah, we can do that. 5 and 5.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. 5 chicken and 5 beef.
Right, that was cheap.
Yeah,
Setting up a company with Corporatio. Clearly the cheapest I've come across. So I think the next thing to do is you're a smart company. You've obviously got a very good pedigree in the crypto and blockchain space.
I think it's all right.
Tell us a little bit about that before we go into why a blockchain and how you're using it.
Sure. Well, I entered like the space in 2013, and to be honest, it was like not a fancy story of like me reading or anything like that. I had a couple of friends that in the startup scene that always like knew about that, and they started talking about that, and I was like, okay, I'm just like throwing some money in because like it seems a cool thing.
Yeah.
Forward that, back on like university time, me and a very close friend of mine, another guy, used to like spend our evenings. Now this is probably like very nerdy, but like we study finance, so that was kind of like fun for us.
Yep.
We tried to like experimenting and doing market manipulation on very small and flat markets where like only a few $1,000s would have been enough to actually modify it and changing things.
So you want to record stuff about market manipulation?
Well, it was like for fun, you know,
Okay,
like
right.
just like pure
Manipulate away.
students and so on. It was like nothing crazy on that.
Yeah.
And basically, like this friend was the one that was very involved in the blockchain, in the crypto space in general.
Yeah.
So it started presenting a lot of things about like
Grab a seat here.
all the
Continue this
different,
chat.
sure, all the different cryptos as well.
Okay. So here we are, East Coast Park in Singapore. Little pause to order some food, which is on the way. Looking forward to that. So Stefano, can you tell us a bit about why you use a blockchain for the solution that you've come up with?
Because I think that like the easiest way to think about that is like, let's say that you need to like run a car race. I think that like you have two options on that. Either you buy a car, you tune in that, modify that, and then you practice your driving skills and you go for a race. Or the option number 2 will be you're building the car from scratch and then you're going and having the race. Now, not using blockchain will basically being building the car from scratch. And the reason why I'm using this as an analogy is because blockchain, somehow the ecosystem and the technology has all of these features combined together that basically allowed it perfectly to do exactly what we needed to.
Okay.
From security, from a signatures point, from transfer of the tokens as shares,
Yep.
verification process on the third party. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
Enjoy the Sunday.
Thank you.
Awesome.
And so it just like makes much more sense. I would say
You
like
picked Ethereum. Was there
Yes.
Did you consider other blockchains?
no, we didn't. Simply because like when we start, there was either Bitcoin or there was Ethereum, and Bitcoin was not allowing to have smart contracts running on. And nothing like that. You just like simply transfer the Bitcoin and so on.
Yep.
So there were not really a lot of options. It was either Ethereum or nothing at all.
Okay.
Nowadays, obviously, there are like much more solutions and so on. And we're still on Ethereum simply because it works better for what we're doing.
Okay. we'll be debating Bitcoin and Ethereum. I'm really interested to learn more about Ethereum moving forward. You're the perfect guy to kick off my series on real-world use case of blockchain. Anything else in the market that sort of impresses you that you're seeing, and maybe in the Ethereum space?
There are tons of cool projects that are coming up.
Yeah.
Like, take for example all the models around like the cards to like spend all the cryptos in a super easy way and a fast way. So just like pointing some names out, the Crypto.com, the 10x, the Monolith, the Wires card, like there are so many now pointing out. You get that. You got all the DeFi movement, where basically like is the decentralized financial things, where you can have like the opportunity to basically like earn an interest in the same way that you would do like on a dividends, or in the same way that you would do that on a saving or checking account.
Okay, let's do a show next week. I really need you to teach myself and my audience what MakerDAO is, what DeFi is on Ethereum. I'm quite fascinated by that.
Absolutely.
Even some hardcore Bitcoiners from my world, I hear them sort of showing quite a bit of interest in what's happening in that space.
It's super fascinating because like, take for example like a very small thing on that. A bank account nowadays will give you like what, 1%, 3%, depends on the bank that you have.
Yeah, soon to be nothing.
True. A dividend portfolio will probably like give you like a 6-7%.
Right.
And if you're looking like companies that are having like a super high dividend yields, like in the US market.
We're going to do this in this show, or should we stay on what Corporatio is?
Well, it's up to you. It's just like, it's a very fascinating thing, especially like for financial people in general, because like.
Well, let's do a show on that next. I mean, I think, you know, for me, I'm fascinated by what you've put together. So just to summarize, you're a smart company. The people that you think it's most pertinent to would be digital nomads. I mean, in an order, give us sort of very quickly who should contact you and why.
I think the best people will be solo owners, and therefore like digital nomads as well. Startups, for sure. Blockchain companies, hands down, that makes a lot of sense, obviously. Big corporations or medium-sized corporation or entities in general that have shareholders or directors across multiple countries around the world. People that are interested on actually secure or finding new business models across IPs, assets, real estate, commodities in general, and so on. And then the last one would probably be like the new generation jobs type of thing. So like the esports player, the streamers, the YouTubers, the Instagrammers, and so on. Because we have actually like some clients that are like setting up companies and creating like these new business models where like they might actually be Instagrammers and models or influencers, and using themselves as a product per se. And that's something, to be honest, that came out completely new to us as well, but that we're seeing is actually picking up in a very good way as well.
Okay. Right. So basically, you're winning on price. What are the? I've seen some real drawbacks. You know, I'm personally trying to open bank accounts, being in the crypto space. I'm in Seychelles,
we are in
Wyoming.
Seychelles, Wyoming in US, Panama, San Vicente la Grenadine, and Singapore.
So you help with setting up bank accounts, all that sort of thing as well? Okay.
Yes, we do. And obviously, like,
is it more? Are you sort of the first port of call for people in the crypto and blockchain space? Do you think? Have you got a special knowledge base around how you can help with?
I think yes, like simply because obviously by being a blockchain company ourselves, when we set up our company, and we have subsidiary in every single jurisdiction that we create, so we try to learn and replicate the model as much as possible. Okay. So every single new subsidiary is obviously involved in blockchain things because we are a blockchain company, and so we need to go through the process of setting up a bank account for those companies as well. I would say that like there is a big difference between if the company is involved in blockchain and it's up there, then yes, 100% we can help with that, and it's actually relatively easy to do that.
Yep.
If the company is involving cryptos, then some jurisdictions are definitely better than others. I'm taking, for example, Singapore as the perfect spot for that.
Yep.
If you are involved in cryptos, there is no way you're gonna get a bank account in Singapore.
Yeah,
like,
I know.
Just forget about that. It's not gonna happen.
Yeah.
Even if you're reading a tons of things about that, even if people are saying that Singapore is super friendly on blockchain things and so on, you touch crypto, forget a bank account there. It doesn't mean that you cannot incorporate the company in Singapore. You can still find a bank account somewhere else.
Yep.
EMI solutions, so electronic money institutions.
As you know, I'm in crypto. I have a media brand. I'm not sort of selling crypto or anything like that, but yeah, I did come across that brick wall when trying to open a bank account here.
It is.
The other thing that I find quite interesting with what you're doing is the ability to have literally hundreds of thousands of shareholders and the cost effectiveness of being able to do that. For example, here in Singapore, transferring some shares between people here, it was costing me hundreds of dollars just to do a simple type thing like that. You'd mentioned to me that I could. I'd asked you. I'd like to bring as many people into my hard forking brand as shareholders. You've explained to me that offering the security is not really an option, but I could say give somebody a T-shirt and give them a share in the company.
Yeah.
Or they could buy a T-shirt and give them a share. Is that?
It's basically there is like a lot to unwrap on that. So the first thing is like it depends on the jurisdiction, on the number of shareholders. So if you have every single country has a specific rules on corporate law and so on. So Singapore, Wyoming, they're all limited on having a maximum of 50 shareholders per private company.
How about this though? Say somebody wrote an article for my website, and could I reward them with a share in the company?
100%, yes.
Really?
That would be absolutely fine because it's exactly the same way of basically like paying for a service, an action, a time of a person.
Right.
And you don't have like an economical fiat value, so cash, in very simple.
All right, I'm going to set up a company with you then in the Seychelles, and I can literally offer, 10,000 shares or more.
Yeah.
So look, if you're in the crypto space and you want to get involved in hard forking, this is a great way to do it.
Yeah, you could totally do that. You have no limitation whatsoever.
What about if somebody wanted to, instead of putting like a donate BTC or BSV or BCH, whatever, Ethereum, if they liked what I'm doing in this content and wanted to support it, no, that's offering the security, isn't it? If I said you can, okay. Right, so really rewarding people for contributing to the site.
Yeah. Think about that in a way of like an exchange. Like a paying and a purchase of a service is normally like an exchange of a service. I hire you for a video, for example. You give me the video, I pay you in cash. If I don't have enough money, we need to sit down and agree on another type of remuneration that can work.
Okay.
This can be, if we're friends, maybe a dinner. I invite you over and I pay for food and I cook you a dinner. Or it might be an exchange of a different service that I can actually offer you. Maybe I'm a graphic designer and I'm like, you know what, I cannot do video, but I can prepare the graphic of your channels and so on.
Okay.
And so there is that shares.
Is this sort of a use case that you guys had thought of when you set it up, or not really? Is it just sort of a derivative of...
The shares part actually was like the main point of that.
Being able to literally issue hundreds of thousands of shares, right? Okay.
We wanted to like get to that point more than actually like the managing of the entire company. That's something that
let's
came
stay on
up.
that though for a second. So say there's someone out there who looks at this and goes, oh, okay, I like what these guys are hard forking are doing, I want to get involved. What costs are involved and how would that actually work?
So basically, obviously, like we're talking about like shares of a company. So it's slightly different on everything, but like in a super simple way, they basically need to like transfer their information to you as owner of the company. And that means like your KYC, MAL, PAP. What does this mean? Copy of a passport,
Right.
copy of a proof of address, and then running a server. The PEP is basically like if you are a political person, so if you're involved in politics and so on. Once they transfer like those information, the system needs to verify that the person that is getting in contact with you, it's not a criminal for obvious reason.
So is this all automated though,
Yes.
or it is? So it's literally,
the way that it works.
what does it cost and how long does it take?
So for the KYC part, we have multiple partners. We don't do that in-house. Obviously, a lot of them are working in the blockchain space as well. Naming few, Civic, BlockPass, Selfkey. It's 3 of them. And
Civic, is that Vinnie Lingham's company?
Yeah.
Right.
So in a super simple way, the way that it works is like you set up your profile through those platforms, and you get a QR code on a page. You scan their QR code, and your data pass from your profile on those apps to us. Those data obviously being verified and checked and controlled and so on. You get approved. Once you're approved, you can become a shareholder of the company.
Right.
So you send a request.
So in other words, if someone was submitting an article or buying a T-shirt, I was going to give them a share in the company. What's the cost? And am I paying that? Or they're paying that?
So the way that it works on the KYC and MAL and so on, it's the owner of the company that is paying for the KYC. And they're basically paying like those third-party companies. They're not paying us. We don't take a single dollar out of that.
And how much is that going to cost me?
I cannot really disclose that, obviously, in public. But you're looking.
Is it less than $5?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Right.
It is less than $5.
Okay. Interesting.
For the entire like package of KYC, MAL, and PEP.
So it's very similar to anyone that's ever registered on a crypto exchange or whatever, uploading a proof of address or passport.
It works basically like
or
in the same.
Anything. Okay.
It's in the same exactly way. Once that is done, you are approved, so you're legally allowed to be a shareholder. You send a request to your company platform, your company dashboard at that point. In order to do that, you need nothing, because if you don't have a wallet, if you know nothing about blockchain, you basically set up a wallet directly there. If you don't have gas and so on, it doesn't matter. There is a gas station, which means that you don't have gas, it doesn't matter. You're still using the blockchain without knowing anything about that. It's very aggressive on the UX aspects of that, obviously.
I'll put something on the Hard Forking website. If you're watching this on YouTube, I'll put a little explanation of what we've just discussed here. So I'm really looking to grow this brand now. Would love to bring in some other people, and as far as sort of asking for donations and so forth, I've been trying to avoid that and haven't done it for 3.5 years. So what else do we need to cover?
I don't know. You pick.
So, do you think you've explained Corporatio well to a new audience? How would you summarize it in under 30 seconds?
I would say that if you are someone that needs to set up a company, if you have a business idea, if you're looking to like getting started, we are probably the most advanced solution in the world right now for that. I know it sounds cocky, but it's actually true.
Still got 8 seconds.
We're paperless, fully digital, cheaper than majority of the competitors, and way easier and secure than majority of the other people in the space. So.
He ran 4 seconds over his allotted 30, but I thought that was a fairly convincing elevator pitch.
With the thing that passed in the back.
Stefano, thank you so much for your time today. We always have some great debates. We didn't get to that today. We're going to do that maybe in the next chat. And also, I want you to teach me about what Ethereum is. I've always been a Bitcoiner, as you know, so I'm sort of branching out a wee bit this year to learn what else is happening in the space.
There is a lot.
So yeah, come back and check out this ongoing series. We'll be in Singapore for certainly for the next couple of weeks. We'll shoot some more content with Stefano, teach a bit more about his company Corporatio, and we'll get a few raging debates going over who is Satoshi, what's the best blockchain. More to come. Say goodbye to the people, Stefano.
Take care, and obviously, thank you very much.
See you soon.